system development. System development can be defined as a process of developing a new system, software or program, or the process of upgrading or amending an existing one for better performance. So when we are talking about system development, assuming there is no system in place, let us assume that there is a company that has been using manual method in order to process their data. They might want to develop a new system for better performance. So, or let us assume that there is a system in place, but we just need to upgrade the system. So it's also part of system development. That's why we always say that system development is a process of developing a new system, software or program, or the process of upgrading an existing one. There are so many reasons why we might need to develop a new system. Maybe for better performance, maybe for to increase productivity, or to increase output. Then better customer service, then to promote corporate image, then to comply with rules and regulations, Then also develop new system in order to reduce the rate of error, that is error reduction. And also to increase quality of output, to increase or to improve quality of product and services. So these are some of the reasons whereby we may need to develop a new system. Now there are so many approaches to system development. As we want to develop a new system, what are the available approaches? One, we have traditional system development life cycle. Number two, we have prototyping. We have outsourcing. Then we have end user computing. Then we have what we call JAD. JAD means joint application development. Then we also have RAD, that is rapid application development. So these are some of the approaches that can be used in order to develop a new system. Factors to be considered in the development or design of a new system. That is, if we want to design a new system or we want to develop a new system, what are those factors we need to consider? The first one is the purpose or objectives of the company or of the organization. Simply because before an organization will say they want to develop a new system or they want to upgrade an existing one, there must be reasons for it. So we have to consider the objective of the organization. Then the cost effectiveness, that is the money we are going to spend on the development of a new system or upgrading a new system must not outweigh the benefit, and that is what we call cost effectiveness. So in that case, we have to perform what we call cost benefit analysis. So from there we'll be able to know whether the system we want to develop is cost effective or not. Then the next one is reliability in terms of hardware and in terms of software. Then we also have workflow. When we talk of this workflow, it means that the system must meet the best workflow. The system must meet the best workflow in terms of methods, of data transmission. That is, the new system we want to develop or the existing system we want to upgrade must be able to meet the best workflow in terms of the method of transmitting data. Then the next one is data representation. When you say data representation, it means that the data must be presented to the computer. That is, data must be presented to the computer in machine readable form. So that is when the system can actually accept the data and it can work on it. So we also have what we call technical support. That is, by the time we put the system into operation, so we have to think of the technical support, because by the time we develop the system and we are using it, we will have to carry out maintenance, and by the time you want to carry out maintenance of the system, do we actually have the technical expert within the company that can handle it, or we need to outsource? Or even by the time we even want to develop the system, do you have the technical expert within an organization that can handle it? If not, the company can now decide to outsource. To outsource. And when we say outsourcing, it simply means subcontracting part of the business activities of an organization to outsiders, which we are still going to discuss comprehensively during the course of this lecture. So the next one is time requirement. We have to look at the time it will take an organization to actually develop a new system. So, and that is why by the time we want to develop a new system, there's something called feasibility study, which we are still going to discuss. But among this, when we talk of this feasibility, one of the types of feasibility is what we call schedule feasibility. That is, by the time we carry out this type of feasibility, we'll be able to know the time it will take an organization to develop a system, the time they will start, and the time they will finish the development of a system. So it doesn't mean that by the time we are developing the system, we just start and we will not have the time we are going to end or we are going to finish the development. We must have what we call time schedule, the time we are going to start, and at the same time, the time we are going to finish. Then the next one is methods of financing a new system. If we want to finance a new system, what are the available, what are the methods of financing a new system? For example, we can use what we call outright purchase. It's just like now, we have a fully developed system. We just go to the developer, we pay for it outrightly, and we are using it. Or, if we contract the development of the new system to a consultant or a vendor, any amount that it will cost, the company pay it outrightly, and after the development, they collect it and they take the ownership of the system and they are using it. Then the second thing is that we may use what we call leasing. That is leasing of the computer system. It's just a situation whereby the company will enter into contract with another company that will supply the system, and they can use it for some number of years, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 15 or 20 years. So after that, the expiration of the agreed time, the contract can now be renewed. Then at the same time, we can use renters. When we talk of these renters, their payment agreement may be on monthly basis or on yearly basis. Benefits of installing a new system. That is, what are the benefits companies stand to derive from installing or developing a new system? One, we have increased efficiency or effectiveness. Increased efficiency and effectiveness. then cost saving, better customer service, then timely and accurate information. Then there will be more revenue from sales. There will be more revenue from sales. There will be better stock control. Better stock control. And staff motivation. Staff motivation. So, which means that by the time an organization develop or install a new system, there will be increased efficiency and effectiveness. There will be cost saving. For example, when we look at the cost saving, we have in a situation whereby the company, let's assume a company that was using a manual method before, definitely more hands or more staff will be needed. But by the time they now develop a new system, you definitely reduce the number of staff they will have. In that case, to the management, to definitely reduce the cost. Then better customer service. Then timely and accurate information. It will be very easy to generate information. For example, through the use of computer, it will be fast and easy, and at the same time, accurate information can easily be generated because computer produce accurate result. Then there will be more revenue from sales, better stock control. It will be very easy to control stock, and there will be what we call staff motivation. And when we now look at this, apart from this benefit, there are some disadvantages too. For example, if we look at the disadvantages, we have there may be what we call staff turnover. Because by the time you want to develop a new system, the staff may not look at the advantages. They'll be looking at it in such a way that maybe it will affect their work. Because definitely when a new system is developed, it will definitely reduce the number of staff, and there'll be what you call job insecurity. So in that case, once there's job insecurity, there'll be what you call staff turnover. Then the next one is that if the system is down, if the system breaks down, that is breaking down of a system, breaking down of a system will affect the activity of the company, will affect the activities of the company. That's why sometimes you go to some organizations, if they have some technical problem, they will just say, please, our system is down. So if their system is down, it means there's nothing they can do again. Then another thing now is that we have the cost of acquisition and maintenance. High cost of acquisition and maintenance. Our cost of acquisition and maintenance. Because we have to acquire the hardware, they have to acquire the software and some other things. Then they look at and also the cost of maintaining the new system. Then the next one is cost of installing a new system. If we want to install or develop a new system, what are the costs that we are going to incur? One, cost of hardware. Cost of hardware and software. Then number 2, installation cost. Then we have site preparation cost. It's just like when you want to install a computer room. You want to install some computers. It means you need a special room called computer room in order to install the computers. And the computer room is always a special room where computers and its accessories are installed. So there are some facilities or equipment that must be there. In that case, we have to prepare the room very well, and that is what we call site preparation. It means you are going to spend some money in order to make sure that the necessary facilities are put in place. Then the next one is training cost. Cost of training. when you acquire a new system or you develop a new system, the staff that will be operating the system need to be trained. Then we also have conversion cost. That is the cost of converting old file, especially let's say manual file, to electronics. Then also we have what you call maintenance cost. Maintenance cost. Then we have personnel cost. Then we have operating cost. And most importantly, we have what you call redundancy cost. When we talk about the redundancy cost, this is the money that will be paid as entitlement to those staff that the new system will affect their work. Definitely, by the time we want to develop a new system, some staff may need to be sacked. Some staff may need to be laid off. So those people that the new system will affect their work, it doesn't mean that they are not ready to work. It doesn't mean that they are not qualified to work, or the energy is not there to work. But the new system cannot accommodate them because the new system now render them redundant. So it means they need to be paid. So the money that will be paid to those staff that the new system will affect their work. So it's what you call redundancy cost. Everything will be added together as you form part of the cost of developing a new system. System development life cycle. System development life cycle is a term used in systems engineering, information systems, and software engineering to describe a process of planning, creating, testing, and deploying an information system. So it provides a sequence of activities. It provides a sequence of activities for system designers, or developers. System designers and developers to follow. That it provides a sequence of activity for system developers and designers to follow. So in that case, it consists of a set of steps or stages. It consists of a set of steps, stages, or phases. Now, in which each phase of the system development life cycle, in which each stage of the system development life cycle uses the result of the previous ones. Uses the result of the previous ones. So what you are saying now is this: if you want to develop a new system, there are some stages that need to be followed. So in that case, one stage after the other, and the result of one stage will now be used by the second stage. So which means that a particular stage will use the result of the previous stage. Now, system development phases or stages. In system development stages, stages or phases, we have what we call planning. And this planning can as well be called initiation stage. The planning, this defines or clarifies the problems. The need for the IT system is expressed, and the purpose and the scope of the IT system is documented. Then, what we are just saying now is this: during the planning stage, this is where the problem will be defined, or what you call problem definition. The reason is that for us to decide, for an organization to decide that they want to develop a new system, it means there must be some problem with the system they are using presently. So during planning stage, they have to look at the present system they are using and look at the problems that system will have in order to actually know the appropriate system they are going to develop in order to solve that particular problem. So, and at the same time, after the problem definition, during this planning stage, they will be able to decide on the scope, that is the area the new system will cover. So a steering committee is set up by the management in order to ensure the interest of all stakeholders are taken care of, and the aspects of this stage may be referred to as the statement of scope and objectives. We are still going to look at steering committee in detail, because normally steering committee in the exam, if they want to test it, they always test the members of steering committee, which you are still going to look at. Members of steering committee, then functions of steering committee. So these are some of the these are the two ways whereby they normally test a steering committee, which you are still going to look at in detail during the course of this lecture. Then after the planning or initiation stage, the second stage is what we call feasibility study stage. A feasibility study is carried out in order to ascertain problems of the present system, expectations and requirements of end users of the system, in order to determine immediate and future operational requirements of the organization. So when we are talking about feasibility study stage, at this stage, this is where feasibility study will be carried out. And in other words, feasibility study can be defined as the study carried out on an existing system, and the reasons why the existing system should be changed to new system, and most importantly by considering the cost and benefits. By considering the cost and benefits of the new system. The cost and benefit of the new or proposed system. So the major objectives of this stage is to conduct a preliminary analysis, propose alternative solutions, describe cost and benefits, and that is what we call cost-benefit analysis, and submit a preliminary plan with recommendations. And also in this stage, one need to find out the organization's objective and the nature and scope of the problem under study. You have to know the objective of the organization. From there, we'll be able to know how to provide appropriate solution to the problem. And this one can only be done through feasibility studies. Then the next stage is system acquisition or development stage. Acquisition of hardware and software requirements describes desired features and operations in detail, including screen layouts, business rules, process diagrams, pseudocode, and other documentation. Then we still have to translate design specifications into code, build the technical architecture, build the programs and database, and carry out necessary tests. And in purchasing, a request for proposal is sent to selected vendors. Their proposals received and evaluated. Demonstration and presentation of the different applications are shown to selected and experienced staff. What you are saying here is this: the system acquisition or development stage. This is where we are going to acquire the hardware. We are going to acquire the hardware, the software. That is the hardware that will be required. The software that will be required, and also what will be the features or characteristics of the proposed system. We have to look at it. The screen layout, the business rules, process diagrams, syntax code, and other documentation. And when we say documentation simply means the process of establishing a permanent record of a computer file or of a program. Then after that, there's something called specification. The specification needs to be translated into code in order to build the technical architecture. And normally when we say system specification, it is a document. It is a document prepared by the system analyst. It is a document prepared by the system analyst that will show the requirement of the proposed system, that show the requirement of the proposed system. In terms of input, process, storage, output, and data transmission. So the document that you saw, the requirements of the new system in terms of input, in terms of storage, in terms of output, in terms of process, in terms of data transmission, that particular document is what you call a system specification, which we are still going to look at in detail. Now, by the time we now look at this, we are still going to build what we call database. And when we say database can be defined as a set of related files or data when structured, arranged, and stored in a central system that can be accessed by authorized users. Now, after this, we now send out what you call request for proposal to selected vendors, and this one can only happen if the company decide to outsource the development of the new system or of the proposed system. They have to send out request for proposal to vendors or consultants in order to submit their proposals. Then their proposal will be received and evaluated. Then something like demonstration will be done, will be carried out by experienced staff in order to be able to pick an appropriate proposal. So before the development will take place. But if the company decide to use in-house staff, that is, decide to use their staff, if they have the technical expert among their staff, if there are staff that have that skill in order to develop the system, they can still make use of it. But if there's no if among their staff they can't find any staff that has that skill to develop the software or to develop the system, it means they need to outsource. If they need to do that, it means they are going to send out request for proposal to so many vendors, receive their request or receive their proposal, access their proposal, check their demonstrations, presentation, and everything before the final selection will be made. Number 4, system installation and training. Here, the system is installed with an appropriate hardware and associated ancillary equipment like servers, printers, and so on, and a telecommunication network set up for enterprise usage and access to information. So what you are saying now is that after developing the system, we have to install the system, the hardware, and all other necessary equipment. That is all other necessary devices, or even including peripheral devices. Everything will be installed, and also a telecommunication network will be set up in order to allow the people or the staff to be able to have access to the information. Then it also ensures that proper training on the system is carried out, documented before transition or before operating the system, and also its support staff and end users. So training has to be carried out. And normally when we say training, it starts to do with the process of acquiring knowledge about the operation of a particular system. And training can be acquired through workshops and seminars, workshops or seminar. Then it can as well be acquired through online training. The staff can be trained online. Then through documentation, that is the document or the training manual, the manual that comes with the system, through documentation or manual. Then through the use of IT journals or textbooks. So these are some of the ways whereby training can be acquired. Maybe through workshops, it may be through online training, maybe through document or training manual or system manual, maybe through IT journals. Then we can also acquire training through formal training. When we say formal training, that is just like somebody attending a computer training institute in order to acquire knowledge on how to actually operate a particular system. Then the next stage is system operation or live operation. That is, after the system has been installed, after the users have been trained, then there will be what you call live operation. The live operations of the system will be done here, and necessary adjustment will be made. The application will be implemented, and this is done in a phased approach, starting with one unit of an organization and proceeding to the rest. This approach provides the opportunity to correct anomalies before enterprise-wide implementation. We have to make sure we operate the system. It's just like when we are trying to carry out tests. Then we have to make sure we operate the system. We can choose a particular segment a particular unit in an organization in order to test the system. So in order to test run the system, during this live operation, we'll be able to discover any problems and we'll be able to correct to make necessary amendment before the system will now be will be implemented in the whole organization. Then the next one is system maintenance. After the system has been properly tested, then it means the organization can now decide to start using the system. And during system usage or operation, there will be need for maintenance. And in that case, when we say maintenance has to do in the exam. Many of maintenance can be tested. Types of maintenance can be tested, which we are still going to look at during the course of this lecture. And also reasons for maintenance can also be tested, which we are still going to look at. But normally, maintenance has to do with taking care of a system in order to ensure that the system is in good working condition. The system is in good working condition. So it means we have to carry out that maintenance, and normally we have to. We have so many reasons whereby we need to carry out maintenance to prolong the lifespan of the system. Then to increase the speed of operation. Then to increase output. Then for efficiency and effectiveness. So these are some of the. Then also to reduce the rate of error. These are some of the ways whereby you need to maintain our systems. And we also have types of maintenance which we are still going to look at during the course of this lecture. And there are preventive maintenance, corrective maintenance, adaptive maintenance, and preventive and perfective maintenance. Although we are going to look at them one after the other. Then the last stage is post-implementation review. This is where the system that was developed as well as the entire process is reviewed. This is usually carried out by the auditors. The main focus is to confirm that the expected project objectives and benefits have been achieved, determine adequacy of the system design with installed features and capabilities. Then the auditors also confirm whether the project was executed on time, that is on time, within budget, and adequate control have been put in the system for overall efficiency. So we have to make sure we carry out what we call post-implementation review, and this is where we are going to get what we call feedback. This is where we are going to get feedback, and when we talk of this feedback, we have what we call positive feedback and negative feedback. So if it is positive feedback, positive feedback will definitely it will require improvement in the same direction of the achievement, while negative feedback will require adjustment in the opposite direction of the achievement. And normally the post-implementation review is always carried out by the auditor, simply because the auditor will be able to look at so many things, whether the expected features or characteristics have been included in this new system, and at the same time, in terms of cost, whether the system, the new system that was developed was financed within the agreed or approved budget or not, and whether the appropriate control has been put in place. Then after that, we'll now try to look at what we call steering committee. As I said the other time, when an organization wants to develop a new system, steering committee will be the first committee to be set up by the management. And as I said earlier on, we are going to look at what we call the members of steering committee. Members of steering committee. And functions of steering committee.